Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 6, I think.
Six.
And we're here with somebody you might recognize. This is Wendy Knits of Wendy Johnson of Wendy Knits fame. This is our latest book.
This is the new one.
We came unprepared with the first one because we were lucky enough to get it signed last year when Wendy was here. So, anyhow, here we are with the Spring Fling. It's Friday night.
These are the socks I'm gonna make.
Ooh, which ones?
The Norwegian rose.
Oh yes,
They're
those
so
are the
pretty.
only ones that Laura and I agree with both wanting.
I want to make
because
them
I like
all.
certain types and she likes certain
Wait a minute,
types.
you guys agree on
I know,
that?
right?
It never happens.
And we have it recorded
It
for
is.
posterity.
Everyone can
That's
know.
very
Now,
cool.
whether or not we both get around to doing it anytime in the next 5 years is a whole nother story.
I'm buying the yarn tomorrow.
But you know what? Maybe we should offer that as like a knit along with our viewers.
That'd be fun.
That'd be a neat idea.
I think
You
we
know
should
what?
do that.
That would be very cool, and see what colors everybody chooses. Because I've seen a couple on Ravelry in different colors.
So people have already
I've
started
seen
knitting.
some with the variegated, which is really cool. It's like
Because it makes it
Get
look more
fast.
complicated, right? Because you're adding
Yeah.
more colors
Right.
in.
So there's the
Right.
green and the brown, and some people have been using variegated rather than the green or the brown. You could do either or.
And that's one of my favorite tricks for color work socks that make it look so much more complex. Like the Fair Isle socks in there. That they may be a little further
This book
back.
always opens to the socks I have.
I don't know why,
I
right?
have no idea why. It's,
what a
it's like
coincidence.
stuck to that
I
page.
think the Fair Isle ones you're going the wrong way.
That's always the case.
I think she might know where they are. She did put the book together, right?
Well, I was not there with glue and
There.
scissors. But
Ooh, those are pretty.
yeah, now see, you hold that one up, Lala.
There
That
we go.
is just two different colorways, and it's Shibui knits, and is it
Ivory
jewel?
and jewel.
Yeah, jewel, and just glancing
really
at it,
cool.
And it's only
wow.
one skein of the jewel and 2 skeins of the ivory, so it's only 3 skeins total.
right. And because the heel and the toe and the ribbing are all solid
I
color,
have so
you
much
don't need
Shibui
as
in my
much.
stash.
I know.
I do
She
too.
has so much everything in her stash. Her Ravelry stash is probably, 10%, 15%?
But you know what, seeing all these people come back from the Loopy U today makes me feel so much better
Yeah,
about myself.
that's
I'm like,
true.
I'm not going to buy that much
And we'll
tomorrow.
save the Loopy trip for a later podcast because Laura and I haven't been. We're on the last trip tomorrow afternoon, so
I got to go on these special
she did.
teacher trips.
She got to go before everybody and see what was.
And you got to go hang out with Jared Flood
Yes,
and
I
Ann
did.
Hansen
and Griffin.
and Griffin.
Perkins.
And I heard you did up Griffin's corset this morning.
Yes, I was very honored to get a phone call this morning from Griffin saying, "Can you do me a favor?" And the dress she was wearing laces up the back, and her husband usually does it for her at home. And I was very flattered that she called me, and I got to lace Griffin into her dress.
because she does wear the.
She wears more Renaissance
yes,
period.
every day, and it looks great.
So
She's-
LB, if you're watching this, I got to lace Griffin into her dress.
be very jealous.
When I
Be
saw her
jealous.
for
Gonna
the
be a little
first time, I
closer.
thought she was like the Lady of the Lake from the King Arthur legends. That's just how Griffin reminds me. She's just very elegant.
Have you seen her tonight?
Yes, she
Yes.
changed into a new.
Well, we went out to dinner.
Oh, did you? Okay.
We, Sherry always takes the
That's
teachers
right,
out to
that's
dinner,
right.
and she just looks adorable.
yes.
And she told me that was her wedding dress.
Oh.
that's sweet. Speaking of adorable, you have something adorable in your lap.
This is my tribute to Claudia the Woolmice, who couldn't be here. This is my Lady Bertram shawl.
This
knit
is the one
from
that's on the
Woolmice.
Ravelry project page, right? It's the.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the original
So pretty.
Lady Bertram, and this is the only one of my shawlettes that I brought with me because most of them are living at the local yarn shop in Alexandria
Yeah.
right now because she sells some of my single patterns. So
How lucky that local yarn shop owner must be to
But
be.
I bet you they
Hey.
play dress up. I would.
but you know what? I mean, she keeps selling out of the patterns because the
They're
shawls
there.
are
Yeah.
there.
That makes a big difference.
There's something so great about a one skein shawl. Everybody has sock yarn.
Oh yeah.
You know, because it like multiplies when
Yes.
you don't
They're
look
like
at it.
lemmings. I swear my stash is breeding.
And it's more of there's 95% single skeins of a single colorway,
Right.
you know, versus I don't know something that matches that you can make a bigger project out of.
And I just went on this one skein shawlette kick to see
We noticed.
how did you notice
Yeah, I
that?
was
I
like,
mean,
I
oh,
may
I
have to knit one or two of them too.
I don't know. I just kind of started cranking them out one right after the other, and it's kind of fun to see how big a piece you can get.
Right, yeah.
And I always make them so that there's at least 50 yards left over in the skein, because of course everybody knits a little differently, and I don't want someone getting to the bottom of the shawl and needing this much yarn.
We were talking about that earlier, how Ravelry has really changed the face of knitting, in that if you run out with 10 feet, you need 10 more yards of whatever, especially Woolmaz or Nama, someone will always offer it up usually, and that's just the nice thing about Ravelry.
Speaking of Ravelry, my stash is not on Ravelry.
I've noticed that.
There is a reason for that.
You have a room for your stash.
I have a stash room, and
is Lucy allowed in the stash room?
No, she isn't. But that's not. She doesn't mess with my yarn. I can leave a project just sitting on the couch. Now, when I'm blocking, she's real
wants
helpful.
to lay all over it.
Yeah.
But the reason she's not allowed in the stash room is that most everything is kept in plastic bags, and she likes to chew on plastic.
It's probably not healthy.
No. And it's only bags that she's not allowed to chew on, because I will sometimes put down a decoy for her.
I found the Trixie bag.
And she's
smarter than that.
She's too smart for that.
Aww.
I mean, I'll even take a Ziploc bag and put tissue paper in it so it looks like there's something important there, and leave it on the dining room table. And she's still she's too smart.
Mom
for
touched it, so it must not be the right one.
That's right.
So we were talking about your book earlier. I know that writing and designing all the patterns and having everything sample knit and test knit is a long process. Can you walk us through how long it takes and what are the big turning points for getting it done?
Absolutely. The first thing that I do is submit a proposal, and that's just basically a basic idea of what I want to do, what the concept of the book is, and maybe a description of a few projects.
So maybe your latest one was more challenging sock knitters.
Right. Now, actually, with that one, Pottercraft came to me and asked me.
That's flattering.
That's gotta be unusual.
That's nice.
Absolutely.
That's really nice.
The first sock book, actually, they came to me for that too.
Wow.
I have a literary agent.
Oh, okay.
And they contacted my agent, and because they wanted a sock book.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, this was a week before Stitches East, however many years ago this was. And I happened to be going to Stitches East, and they were going.
Okay.
So we set up a meeting, and I brought a bunch of my single pattern socks, and so we met at Stitches. I showed them my socks and talked about my process and this, that, and the other. And a couple of weeks later, they made an offer to my agent. And after that, the first thing that happens is you get a contract.
Right.
And you sign the contract. And there are several spots, highlights. The first thing you do is you need to deliver progress materials. And that is generally an outline of the book, which is usually just a detailed table of contents.
Right.
The introduction, which can be changed later, but they want the text so that they have the general idea of
the feel.
They want the word count and stuff, so they can kind of lay it out a little bit.
Not really not so much the word count as what my idea for the concept of the book is. They usually ask for 2 or 3 sample patterns, and the patterns obviously you can make adjustments. But now, though, all of that stuff is for starting to lay out the book.